Hey Mark, you ready for this game tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Cupsy, what are you doing over there?
Don't worry, boys. Was just on AztecSafety.com, took a fire extinguisher safety course. Paul, I'm putting out the fires from now on. Woo!
Hello, curling fans, and welcome to Martensville, Saskatchewan. It's the Curling Stadium Martensville Invitational. We have this matchup here between Brad Gushu and Rylan Kleiter here today in pool play. Gushu is at 1-0, and we have Kleiter here as well. It is Brad Gushu throwing the red stones. Kleiter will have the hammer here, throwing yellow in end number 1. Thank you so much for watching Curling Stadium. Happy to have you here with us. My name is Dave Schmell. I'm joined by Sean Joyce. And Sean, we should have a good matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, you would think so. This is a couple of teams that probably have played each other a few times this year. I think Rylan's even picked up a win over Gushu at some point in time over the season. But these two teams are teams that play the slam circuit, and a lot of us deals across the country, whereas the ones we saw this morning, we had snow this afternoon on the ice, not outside. But that's a team that doesn't play as much on tour, so they don't get the chance to play these guys that often. Rylan is out there playing against all the best teams, so they would have played each other a few times this year, probably a few times last year. And I know Rylan's got at least one win over Gushu. Do you suppose I can find it now when I'm looking for it? Of course not.
Well, Rylan Kleiter has certainly had a good season thus far, even though as we're coming to the end of it, some very impressive wins, and we've had the privilege of calling a lot of their games and really seeing them develop this year.
Of course, as we talk about how well they play, they rub off and into the open.
Well, that's just how it goes, right? And there's a great crowd on hand here in Martensville to watch Brad Gushu play here. Of course, Brad Gushu has announced that this will be his last year at competitive curling.
Got the hit and roll in behind, but did leave the angle, so it's actually a little better now for Kleiter. Red-yellow lined up to go onto that red that just rolled underneath.
Brad could pull a Brett Favre and stay around forever, though. I think we might have a substitute on our hands.
Well, or somebody's missing it. I was just trying to figure that out myself. So I know the Kleiter team fairly well, so I can tell you that Matthew Hall has been playing third, even though he's listed as the second. And I don't see him out there. Josh Mattern.
Yeah, I don't see Matt Hall
brushing,
right now.
and I'm not even sure for sure if that's Trevor Johnson because he's not wearing.
Well, I just test our boots in the ground, James Gordon, to let us know.
Well, it's unusual for Trevor not to be wearing the proper uniform, so I'm not sure if that's Trevor or not until I get a better look at him. Trevor does frequently wear a hat, which doesn't make it easier when we're trying to figure out who's who out there.
But yeah, definitely don't see Matt Hall out there.
Does look like Trevor to me. I don't know why he's not wearing the regular jacket, though.
Okay, so according to James Gordon, the club manager and chief ice technician at Martensville, they're just playing as 3, and Matt Hall is in Europe. Doing Europe things.
Well, Matt Hall is an odds maker. Maybe he's making odds on some of the Olympic events.
He may be.
Looking for the run back there, and it goes by everything.
Didn't we have a game where he had to come off the ice because he had to do something like that?
Maybe. Gushu sitting shot, but Kleiter has second, and the angle in the house favors Kleiter. Kleiter's got last rock here in the opening end of play. So they're going to guard. They talked about moving things around, too, and you can understand why they'd want to. If there was a way they could change that angle in the house, it would be advantageous for them to do so, but it's hard to do that without just tapping the yellow onto the red, which, arguably makes it worse.
So this is going to come on down and be about a halfway guard. And you see Rylan's going to line up the big run back here.
Yeah, it's possible to remove all 4 reds and leave that yellow one in the rings. And I'll tell you what, Josh doesn't have a problem throwing it that hard.
So Josh Mattern firing away. Trevor trying to hold it there. On the 1, 2, 3. They get a lot of granite moving. It's still Kleiter sitting 1 now after that. All of that.
Yeah, rolled the shooter with it a little bit, as much as so it's still whatever 2/3 buried. It is a center guard though. That may help Gushu out later on in the end. For now, he's got to deal with that shot stone.
So here's Mark Nichols. Walker trying to hold it past the guard. It's gonna tap up their own to be second shot stone. Opportunity here for Rylan Kleiter.
Yeah, a little bit of an opportunity anyway. You could play the double. The problem is shot stone's fully exposed. They can hit and roll underneath. Then you might try to Christmas tree this somehow. He's talking about playing it as a tap to Christmas tree it. They're back to the double, playing the double here.
So Mattern with the southpaw delivery.
Might have been back a bit too.
Yeah, put it out just a skosh. Hits it and plants it.
Yeah, more importantly, lost the shooter. So now that shot stone belongs to red. Second shot's wide open. So Gushu's got the chance to sit 2. Could probably even play this with quiet weight and try to roll this undercover. You might move the red at the side of the button, but if you bury the one at the top of the 4, that's not bad. You won't lose it with quiet weight. With that much ice, he's probably throwing like bumperish.
Yeah, it's a little tight. That's a little tighter ice now.
Yeah, I still don't think he's throwing this very hard. You could probably even get away with Hack with the brushers he's got.
We definitely see you're able to hold a rock on the line.
You know, and he doesn't want to roll Broomside. He rolls Broomside, he gives up the chance for the double, and Kleiter's out of trouble. But right now, he's looking at a pretty good chance to force.
So, first and 2 for Brad Gushu. Gets across the face, makes that hit, and just as goes to a roll, and he lies 1 and 2.
Yeah, does what he needs to do for now. It's all that Kleiter's got left now is try to hit and roll undercover himself. I mean, if you could dead bury it, like where he's making contact, his stone will be fully in front of the tee line as he rolls across. He's still going to be mostly in front of tee. And if he's dead buried, that red's not exposed from either side. It would be hard to chase it, to tap it up. There still could be a chance for 2, but if you leave half a rock exposed on either side, be a way for Brad to get it out, and then you're looking at a force here.
So Kleiter with the hammer. Now with the first of 2 from him. Make the hit and stick right there.
Well, that may not be ideal. So for Brad, I guess if you nose hit it, he's got the double, but if you roll just to the center line, I'm not sure you could hit it on the nose again and be shot rock, and you'd take away some of the draw path.
So Brad Gushu, his resume speaks for itself, but I'll speak to it anyway. 3-time Brier winner. Gold medalist 2006 in Turin. World champion with his final of the first. Trying to carve this over to get a good piece. They got it, but
that's good enough. Yeah, that's really good. Because I don't think you can see enough of the inside to make the double.
All right.
And if you hit that on the nose, you're not shot rock.
If you hit just on the inside, could you kick the one under cover out far enough to kick it clear?
Well, maybe, but you're flirting with the guard if you're trying to hit that on the inside at all. There's also the possibility, because he's throwing the out turn here. So if he hits it fairly full, like 3/4, and that little bit of a roll to the outside with some rotation, it might spin in, but I think this is a hit to give up 1. We'll need some spin on this to have a chance to get this, the single point. Well, he's going to have to try to do it your way now. He's overcurled that. He's going to touch it.
Final stone is going to be a steal 1 for Brad Gushu.
Just barely touched it.
And he has the lead. Kleiter has the hammer. When we come back from Martensville.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Brett, come on, man. I know Aztec's #1 for online safety training, but we really should be out here practicing.
I know, guys. I'll be right there. Just let me finish this course on gas detection. Wait. Do you smell that?
Not wrong. And welcome back to Martensville. It's the Curling Stadium, Martensville Invitational. So happy to have you all here with us. We have this matchup between Brad Gushue and Rylan Kleiter. It was a steal one for Gushu, and Kleiter has the hammer, throwing the yellow stones here in end number 2. Center guard is up, the first corner is up, and here we go.
Now the corner might be a little wider than what they had in mind. We only saw the shot as we were coming back up, so I'm not sure if it might have grabbed something or what happened to that one. Now, we did see a game earlier today where we know you can get to the 12-foot, and at least now with it being that wide, it's not in the way if they need a draw path to the button later on.
We saw some extremely wide shots played in our first game this morning. That one is comfortably undercover. On the way for Team Kleiter here. Pretty good.
Yeah, it came all the way across to the other side. And actually, that's the side he'd love to have it queued up on anyway. You're hoping that something's rolling towards that corner guard, but we're a ways away from getting to play that yet.
So here's Botcher.
I do enjoy this part of the game. It's all about manipulating the angles. Both teams will be trying to set up good angles in the house before anybody tries to run anything out front.
Big part of the reason why we call this game chess on ice. So Mark Nichols will carve that on there, lock it on. It's 1-3 for Gushu. Not wasting any time with this shot. And we keep on stacking them up. So
that's what I was thinking. It's tempting almost to try to come around the out turn, except there's a lot of ways that could go wrong. It's your, I don't even want to say easiest. I mean, in terms of angles, it's the best way to break up the angle that matters to you. But this is the more natural shot. You're trying to get to the inside of that yellow, Tap, tap, just wiggle the ones at the top of the forefoot and change the angle that way. There's not as much that can go wrong with this one either.
So on the way from Botcher.
You try the out turn and you ever bounce off, you could leave a double and then you're in all kinds of trouble. That's better. The yellow probably goes by the red now. The only problem is the red's just about fully open.
And Team Kleiter sees that for sure.
Yeah, but the two yellows on the other side go. Like, you hit that red hard on the nose and both yellows are gone. So you have to make this one. If you're going to play it as a freeze, you have to make it good now, because your other two rocks are gone anytime Gushu wants to get rid of them. This one needs to be a threat. It's not going to be.
That is way light.
Yeah, I think you got to throw some weight at this now. The two yellows go, and I don't think it touches the red that's biting the button. It drags a little bit, so it might, but there's not a lot of room there either. He's just going to guard.
Oh.
Well, he's worried about the yellow run back, and the shot on the other side's not going away. It's not like Rylan Kleiter's going to guard it. You don't want to get this tight to the yellow guard, though, and line something up.
This is a lot deeper than they would have liked. Yeah, probably okay.
Yeah, it does the job. So thinking if he peels it from the center line side, it might come in and disturb the rocks in the 12-foot. I mean, it might do a lot of damage to the yellow ones, depending on how much it drags.
So asking for medium firm weight.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Depending on how much this drags, if it hits that red at the top of the 12-foot fairly solid, you definitely could see, well, at least the yellow second shot rock could fly. The other one could pop out open at least.
Yeah, I'm not sold either, buddy, so.
It didn't drag too bad. It moved things around, but his yellow-red angle at the top is probably better again. He's got shot rock at the back of the 4-foot.
So, Gushu looking at maybe just picking the yellow out.
Yeah, play it as a hit and roll. I don't think he minds touching the red right behind it, because it's never leaving. Like, it might go onto the red at the side of the 4-foot, which is only second shot now, but that'll put it behind cover. You hit this off the nose and roll in behind. One yellow's gone and the other one should be open.
So here's Mark Nichols.
Depending on how these bounce, the red might be shot rock after this too.
He picks it out, rolls on open, shot stone still belonging to Kleiter.
Yeah, I'm not sure he wanted to pick it that clean. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's the intern, and it's the intern because Josh is left-handed. Get by the red at about 9, the 10 o'clock position. Even if you chisel off it, end up on the stone that's the side of the 4-foot.
I almost think you want to throw for the chisel.
You might, because to try to chase it direct, I'm not sure you can get there. That guard's not very far out.
Yeah, I feel like that's a better call right off the bat.
This is tough. Like what he's talking about doing now, he's trying to pass that red through the port. If you touch the red in the edge of the 4-foot, it's coming onto the yellow at the back.
Now he's coming back to the chisel.
I get why he doesn't like the one at the top of the 8-foot. It's a dangerous stone, but there's not really much you can do with it. He's trying to come at it directly.
Big shot here for Team Kleiter. Way out there, gotta get it to work on over. Now trying to straighten out, back and forth. Will it get past the guard? Just gets by. But not enough weight, and it's now Gushu sitting one.
Yeah, that's what I think. Just enough weight to tap it in for a shot rock.
So, call it what it is. That sucks.
Well, I mean, yes and no, because that Yellowstone is still in a dangerous spot. So Gushu's looking at playing the tap up in the middle, but if you make the tap up in the middle, Kleiter could come off the red again, that red at 10 o'clock, into the yellow that was just thrown, and depending where this tap is made, you could leave a double coming up from that angle from the side. So, like, that rock's still in a very good position, and obviously he can get at it directly because he just did it. So if this tap's not made, Kleiter could tap it again, tap it just to the inside of the red stone. You'd only have to move it about an inch. You'd be sitting 2.
So here's Brad in the hack.
Yeah, you really have to be careful how far you tap this. You tap this right to the top of the button, and I think he's probably going to try to come off that side one. And now it's not easy because it's very thin to come in on that angle, but there's not going to be a hole. Like, there's just no way to come through and not hit anything. You'd like to tap this just enough to be sitting 2 and no further.
That's the top one. Tap it up, right on up there, and you sit 1 and 2.
But there's no way to miss. Like, there's no hole. If you tried chiseling off and driving that yellow, it's hitting something. There's nothing.
Oh,
there's
for
no
sure.
way for it to go between everything.
Could he ever come off that red onto the yellow and make it for 2?
Well, yeah, I think you could.
You know what would make this great, Sean? A telestrator.
Yeah. There's a couple of ways to do it. Like, they're looking at, actually, which is tough, they're looking at trying to hit it thin enough to drive the yellow into the shot stone. I think you got to get it off the other stone because you're coming very much to the front edge of that yellow. So it'll come into the one at the side of the button and then straight sideways to catch the back end of the other one. It doesn't need to move it very far.
So, Kleiter going after a big shot here. Off the red, onto the yellow, kill both of the Reds and score 2.
Well, there's still a couple of rocks to come, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll get there. This one's key. Got to make this one first. Off the one onto it and move it over. Are you shot after that? It's really close.
Yeah, I think the yellow is shot. He kind of a bad break. He didn't move that red very far. If he moves it another couple of inches, he's probably got a shot for 3.
Let's get that tight look at it if we can. And there you go. You see yellow touching the pin.
But he didn't quite leave him enough of the inside of that red to be able to get it out real easy.
Just based on where that red rock is, I don't know how you ever make 3. So you're like just kind of like cozying on up in there and locking in?
I don't think there's any way you could hurt anything doing that. Again, I can't hear the players, but I'm assuming that they're kind of the same boat as I am. You're looking around trying to figure out, okay, what's he got right now? And I'm not seeing much.
He doesn't have a whole lot.
You sure don't want to give him anything is the problem.
Just a straight guard's okay, I think.
Well, what are you guarding? I don't know if he's got anything. So you have to be careful when you throw the guard. Is there something somewhere, some kind of run that he could play? And I mean, I don't see anything. I think the 2 yellows near the center line are overlapped enough that he can't do anything with them.
It looks like he's playing the angle raise. And that's what's on the way from Brad Gushu here. His last of the second. Trying to run this back and knock it off the button. He hits it, makes contact. Oh, yes, he does. And they are now shot stone. Shawnee, take us through this one.
Well, it's a gutsy call, but as long as they hit it thin enough, they weren't in any danger of tapping their own. You put this onto your own and tap the yellow through, it could be a shot for 3, but he hits it paper thin, comes across, catches the yellow, got it out of the 8-foot. That's all that mattered. And I think he hung around for 3rd. Rylan might be able to. Well, yeah, it's very gutsy because if he puts that onto the red and kills the backing on the yellow one, there could be a double there for 3.
Oh, hell yeah. I need an ass just watching it. Brad Gushu with it.
Like Kleiter could come off his own into the side of that red, and if he can pass it by the yellow at the back, he could still get 2. Now, that's really tough because you have to come into the side of that red. So that means you're hitting the first yellow really thin. Or he can just play the straight draw, try to chisel it off the inside of that red, and he could just barely get there. Can sit one that way.
You know, I feel like you have to take the shot for 2, and he's trying to get talked into it right now.
Yeah, I think as long as you're making the double, even if it touches the back one, the red's still leaving, so your shooter should sit 1. If you're thin enough on the first one that you're back into the second one and rolling through the 4-foot, then the red is clearing the yellow. You're going to get 1 that way. I don't see any chance that you're giving up more than 1 here. he's throwing some weight here. I guess if he hits the first one too thick, he comes across the top of the red, drives it onto the yellow and spins up. That's a possibility.
So here's Kleiter, final, still in the second end, trying to make something happen. Has to come off his own, cross the house to make two.
Yeah, this is too
And
close
this
to what
has
I
no
said.
chance.
Yeah, as soon as he was too thick, they had to let it go.
And that's a steal one for Gushu, and he has a 2-stone lead. Kleiter has a hammer when we come back from Martensville after this.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
And welcome back to Martensville. It's another steal for Brad Gushu. He has a 2-stone lead over Rylan Kleiter here in end number 3. Kleiter has a hammer throwing the yellow rocks here at the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. And there is a huge crowd on hand here in Martensville to watch all these great players. You see them all through the lounge on both the lower and upper level. Great to see the community support. It's Saskatchewan. And the draw from Jeff Walker gets half under. And Kleiter's going to play the stack game. Josh Mattern on the brush. The Team Kleiter playing three-handed this weekend. Matt Hall is not with the team this weekend. Brad tapping up for the guard here. And the second guard goes up. Still shot stone for Gushu undercover. Full 4. So Kleiter thinking about coming either in or going underneath the corner. Which would you prefer, Sean?
Well, it's everything's getting stacked enough in the middle. It's hard to go to the corner right now because eventually something red might go that direction. I'd love to be able to move that stone at the top of the 4-foot if you could here, but as long as you get a good angle on it for now. This goes back to what we were saying last time. It's all about manipulating angles at this point in the end yet. And as long as you're playing in the middle, I don't think there's any chance that Brad's going to peel that corner guard, so you still might be able to set up a chance to go around it later. Kind of have to deal with the stone in the middle. That's not what they had in mind.
It does weasel around to be shot rock.
Yeah, and it's mostly
very
behind
gettable.
cover.
And it's somewhat gettable.
Oh, for sure. The guard's fairly long. But if you get it and roll to the outside, it gives Kleiter something to roll in off of. So they're going to play the freeze. I don't think the broom's down yet, and Brendan's ready to go. Hurry up, put the broom down. We're playing the freeze.
Brendan, of course, being the longtime skip, has a idea of where the broom should be. I'd like to thank all of you who are joining us here live on Curling Stadium, who may have watched earlier in the day some of that relatively minor curling tournament that's happening in Europe. But we appreciate you being with us here right now. So if you could, give us a like and subscribe to Curling Zone on YouTube. You can watch curling to your heart's content. We have it all the time. So firm weight coming here from Madden. Johnson just watches the peel go by.
Well, that yellow could disappear anytime Brad wants to now, but again, we've seen this with them already. They're a very patient team. He knows that shot's there later. Going to freeze one in the pocket. Could just guard again, too.
And that's where you're really being a veteran, knowing that shot's always going to be there. Because you would think that a younger curler always going to say, well, I have to be shot rock right now.
Yeah, you do see that from time to time. And you wouldn't be wrong necessarily here to get rid of that yellow stone. But you start hitting that and you're going to leave the reds clustered. And what you may find is that the best case scenario, you might get back to a blank. And they're going to play the hit. He's okay with a blank. If you hit this right, you don't have to leave them grouped so that they can all leave either.
And Nichols makes it go away and also spreads their stones out just a bit.
That didn't any more than get by. Great result, though.
Fantastic result.
If it rubs the yellow, it's probably an absolute disaster, but it turns out good. Sits 2. You could play what they're looking at is the jam it and roll behind the corner, or you play the run. Red over the top of the yellow, come back, kill one of those reds in the rings, and then it probably rolls over towards that red in the 12-foot. So you could get rid of everything, well, 3 of the rocks off the center line, and leave yourself sitting second with this.
Johnson on the brush. Move 1, 2, and move them a lot of rocks. Still Gushu sitting shot stone.
Yeah. but everything off the center line, and you're sitting second. So he's not going to ignore a second shot stone in the rings like that. And that means Kleiter's going to have some room to work with now.
So you imagine a hit here and then address the center stone and try to roll under cover?
Yeah, with 3 stones left, he'd probably play the hit and roll behind cover. Now, if you could roll just fully into the 8-foot here, a roll behind cover wouldn't be shot rock. That's pretty good. I might have liked to roll about 5 inches more just to make sure.
Looks relatively triple-ish. Not that you want to throw it.
Yeah, you're not worried about playing the hit right now, and it looks like Rylan's not too interested in trying to come around the corner. There's a pretty good chance you over curl trying to come around the corner, and then Gushu sitting too. I mean, if you were absolutely perfectly on the tee line dead buried, you might be second shot. But what they're going to do is freeze to the one that was just thrown on the corner and try to cue it up so that there's just no way to get this yellow out.
This one needs to sit down. Just a skosh too heavy, Sean.
Yeah, or didn't quite get the line that they needed, because there's definitely room to get that yellow out now. The question, they'll probably take a moment to think about this. They just probably discuss it. Do you want to touch the red on the way by so you don't leave it again? I don't think you have to worry about that. I think your nose hit, the corner freeze to get that direction now is, you got to be so thin on the corner. That's just a murderously tough freeze to make.
There's the hit and stick for Brad. What are they eyeballing, Sean?
Well, he's looking at the double. Maybe he's thinking it's a triple, but you make the double and spin up in behind the corner. Really tough, and I'm not sure it works, because I think in order to make the spin up in behind the corner, you're jamming the first one, and then by the time you spin up, you're not shot rock anyway. Like, you could just play the hit and roll off the one on the button. You'd have to throw some weight likely, because if you're going to make the roll be buried and still be shot rock, you're going to have to roll fairly flat. But I think you make that a much higher percentage of the time than you make this.
So here comes the heat. Clips it, makes 1, 2, 3 of them go. They lose the shooter. It is shot rock hanging on the edge for Brad Gushu.
Yeah, so he'll just try to draw open side, try to get the force. You saw where he was tapping the ice, not really looking at being buried. He just wants to put it somewhere where Rylan might have to think, are we going to just try to draw to beat that, or are we going to hit it? You put this, full 4 foot, he hits it for sure. You put this buried, he's drawing. You want to put it somewhere where he has to think about it. You got that little biter on the other side, so he's always forced.
So Brad asked for just a sliver more ice. They carted over a bit and shot Brock right behind the tee line.
Yeah, but that didn't get over as far as they were looking for, so he's hitting this for sure.
Yeah, gotta play the hit as opposed to a draw.
Still has to be made.
So Kleiter here, facing two, final stone of the third. Just want to hit and stick and put a point on the board. Working really hard to hold this one. Oh no, it's gonna flash on by, and it's a steal of two for Brad Gushu. In an absolute tragedy, it's a score of 4-0 over Kleiter. We'll be back in a moment from Martensville.
Who knew after 20 years in real estate I'd have to make silly videos for Instagram and come out behind a tree?
Stu, we need to do this stuff.
Why can't I just door knock into open houses like I did in the old days?
That doesn't work anymore.
Okay, so it's because I'm sitting here behind a tree. Come use us for real estate.
All right, real talk for a second. If your snack situation hasn't changed in years, maybe it's time for an upgrade. The Chocolate Lab makes legit chocolate that's worth paying attention to. That's it. Back to whatever you were doing.
Right after the telestrator. And welcome back to Martensville. It was a steal two for Brad Gushu there. He has a 4-stone lead over Rylan Kleiter here in end number 4. So happy you're here joining us here on Curling Stadium. I'm Dave Schmel, and joined by Sean Joyce. We have Kaylee and Jerry producing the show. And if you haven't had the opportunity to subscribe to Curling Zone on YouTube, please do. We'd really appreciate it. And we were talking in the break, Sean, that and just kind of got away from Kleiter a little bit.
Yeah, well, and mostly just that last rock. Like, that's not a miss. I don't think even Brad was expecting. He wanted to get that last rock over a little farther just to put two shots into his mind. He left the hit. He had plenty of room by the guard, and just, the guard would have been in his eye, I guess, and just softened it a little bit, and then it over curls on him. A lot of work to do now for Rylan Kleiter, and through the break, the other thing I was doing, somebody might have the update on this. 10 teams here, 2 pools of 5, but I'm not sure how many make the playoffs. It kind of looks like 5, but that seems unusual. I just looked at I pulled up the championship standings, and it shows 2 semifinals and 1 quarter. At any rate, the point being that with Rylan Kleiter losing his opener, this will put him up against it if you lose another one here.
Yeah, he definitely needs this game. So you're Kleiter, you're down 4 right now. It's not panic time, but you definitely need 2 here.
No, yeah, it's not quite panic time, but I mean, in an 8-end game, panic time gets there a little bit quicker. He does need his deuce here, yeah. Now he's got the 2 corner guards to start with. That'll help. They've got a better start to this end. And a chance to deal with the 2 red ones in the middle right away. They didn't get that guard back to the center line.
You see him calling for backline weight here.
Yeah, doesn't need to kill them, just needs to move them. Ideally, you'd like to move both of them behind the T line.
So Trevor Johnson consulting with Josh Madden before the throw, and it's on the way.
Playing that as a split all the way, so they weren't trying to move the one at the top of the 4-foot. Got a pretty good result out of it. Like, this is a tough chase now. You can see, well, maybe just half.
So here's Botcher. Back and forth, curl, then straight. Got to be pretty close. Pass the guard, no problem. And they make that pick. Nice shot by Botcher. You ever take on that double in the middle and try to roll just a little bit underneath that corner guard?
You could. The problem is they can't afford to roll out. They got to keep a shooter. You also don't want to risk ticking that yellow corner guard. I don't mind playing this with quieter weight. You don't really need to kill the reds either. I mean, we just talked about how, it's critical that they try to get their 2 here. But they've got rocks in play that they can work with. At this point in time, you've got to be thinking where you should be. You need to be thinking about possibly setting up 3 here. You've got lots to work with.
Johnson trying to push this over hard. They get to the one in the center and push it back.
Yeah, well, that's what they were playing. They were trying to roll. They're planning to roll behind cover off that one.
Unfortunately, did not.
No.
So this will just be a removal job here for Martensville. Botcher on the carve right off his hand. And they just get it there. Oh boy. By a whisker, Sean.
Yeah, probably left room to draw, though. That was Rylan's first thought. Hitting the corner for he's isn't bad either.
I think the draw was the right thought.
I don't hate this either. Like, you get the little hit on the one that was just thrown and then end up corner frozen on the other one. Well, it's a tough one now for Gushu to eliminate because that catcher in the 8-foot. funny. You watch an end like this developing, and you'd look at, Gushu sitting 3, but actually, Kleiter's in pretty good shape. Like he's got all kinds of rocks to work with. They need to make one good setup shot somewhere along the way, and they're in great shape for 2 at least.
That wasn't it.
Well, I mean, it's not horrible. He's buried, but he's still got to make. It's a thin double on the reds. It's there though. It's hard for Brad to chase the Yellowstone in the rings.
So just tap his zone up a little bit then, right?
Could. Makes the double a little tougher. Could leave a triple.
Now indicating that just a straight guard possible.
Yeah, talking about it. It's, it's not a horrible call, but it's one of those ones where we're 4 up. We don't really want to throw a guard.
That's maybe it's not the call. All right.
I think that discussion was about how deep do they want the guard because they're worried about what he might be running. I'm just going by the directions that he gestured.
Yeah, so Mark's buying it. Can the team sell it? And that is going to be a guard on a pretty good line.
Through the port, finish a little bit, touch the one in the top of the 8 foot, and then try to roll buried. Doesn't have to kill that one in the top 8, but he's got to move it. Because I don't see another draw port.
So you saw the indication for back 8 foot weight, so. And Josh is going to come on down and talk about this one.
They might have room to drive that red past the second guard and try to clip the one out of the side of the 8 foot too. If you could drive the one that was just thrown onto the shot rock at the side of the 8 foot all the way across the house, kill those 2. Now guarding that one at the top of the 8 foot becomes a little bit more dangerous because if you could chisel it out, you can sit 2.
Can you ever get a back line or board weight shot all the way around the outside?
Probably.
Because if you ever made that your shot, I don't know how you get there.
Well, yeah, it's where do you put the broom, but it's probably there. It's probably not something you'd play this early because the same problem then exists is where's your path in to get a second point? And if you happen to not make it, well, now you're in all kinds of trouble. You don't get this, at least you've opened something up. That's interesting. Just by jamming that, he's got a little bit more of a port now. You might be able to get to that stone and the shot rock stone between the yellow and the red now.
Yeah, I can certainly get there.
Which means, if you try for Brad to throw the same guard, for instance, well, you're leaving him a chance to get to the shot stone. He's going to play he's looking at a split on the guard because that's the only way to take away both shots again.
Yeah, because I feel like the double on the reds might be there too.
Well, it is for sure. It's thin, but it's there.
And if you're Rylan, you're certainly going to throw it.
Yeah, and you might like to throw it on the first one too, just
in case you miss.
Yeah, if it doesn't go right. I mean, that stone at the top 12 foot is buried. If you could ever make that double on the reds, you might have a shot for 3. You've got the shot through the port to go at shot stone right now, or you could come off the one that's wide open. And the only way for Brad to take away both is to split the guard, which is not an easy shot, but it is one of the options they're talking about. He doesn't need to necessarily dead guard the stone that's at the top of the 8-foot either, as long as he takes away the inside edge of it so that there's no double. So they're going to play the split. They're going to try to get 2 guards out of this. Move that red stone that's sitting just off the center line to close that port a little bit, and then have the shooter come across and protect the stone at the top of the 8-foot.
Tight shot called here by Brad Gushu. High level of accuracy required. Master just a sliver of ice. He kicks and deals. Just working on down. They want to get just a piece of it. Did not split it, just raised it up.
Yeah. I don't know whether they were trying to cross it or trying to hit it straight. They ended up getting, like, neither. They tapped it dead straight back, so both shots are still there.
I'm throwing the double all day right now.
I think you have to. I mean, you make it good enough, you're actually 2 buried.
And the broom just went down for it. Here it comes. Matter making sure he has a good eye on exactly where to hit the stone. Skipper is in the hack.
It's thin, maybe a quarter. Quarter should be close, I think.
So, first of 2 here. Trying to make this cross-houser. A little bit in and out on the delivery now, trying to hold it. Off and on, probably pretty close. Clip it. Did it get all the way across? No, it's going to go over the top.
Yeah, he just over-curled at the end. You could see that really from the hog line in when we switched the camera view. You saw how much movement there was at the end. He was only looking for about a quarter and about almost to a half.
So they sit second and third right now. So Brad's just going to hit the open stone here.
Yeah, he's got to get a bit of a roll to the inside to make sure he's sitting 2. You hit that right on the nose, you're going to leave a double for 2, so. Flop to right behind the other red, it would actually take away any chance to come through that port and do anything with it too. There's not a gimme draw anywhere right now either.
Picks this up right out of his hand, does Nichols. He's got no problem. Will they sit 2? Yes, they do. Is the double there? Or
I think it is on the intern.
Intern, or the run is there for sure.
The run's there for sure, yeah. But I think you could probably make that with the intern with, you probably need bumper. You don't have to get it all the way out, but you got to get close to the nose. 3/4 with bumper, that stone in the 8-foot's not going to go very far. It's going to be fairly solid on that red right behind it.
And how much do you think this is affected by the fact that they have one brusher? I know generally only one person sweeps anymore?
Yeah, so not that much, I don't think. And Trevor's pretty good at switching back and forth. The issue here will be, and this is where I think it worked for him. That guard is high enough. Like there's, 12 feet plus between the guard and the rock in the house. He needs to get close to the nose on a rock that's just fully buried. But with this quieter weight, I think he can get there.
Final stone at number 4. Looking to make a deuce. Got to escort this past the guard. Get past it. Yes, you do. Make contact. Move it far enough.
Just not enough weight.
No. It's going to be a single point for Rylan Kleiter. Gushu has a 3-stone lead. We'll be back in the 5th end in just a moment from Martensville.
Yes.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh boy.
Welcome back to Martensville. It's a 4-1 advantage for Brad Gushu over Rylan Kleiter. Gushu has the hammer here in the 5th end, throwing the Red Rocks. And Sean, it was a hard foot single for Kleiter there. Had a shot at a do so.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he threw that very quiet, not enough weight to get the 2 stones out, and just got to the nose. So I'm not sure if he throws the right weight. He needed more weight to make the shot, and I don't know if it would curl as much then. They did not ever have the chance to carve that one. So. Threw it well, just needed a little more weight to get them both out.
So Kleiter has the double center-ish guards.
Yeah, it doesn't have them as well lined up as you would have liked. That long guard, again, we talk about this all the time, that long guard by itself isn't really guarding much. Now, Brad can't peel anything yet. This is still just the 4th stone of the end, but if Kleiter elects to come around, say, for instance, on the next one, Brad could then just peel the tight guard, because, again, it's fully exposed out from that long one.
And that stone from Gushu is half exposed, so back 8-foot weight is called for here by Kleiter. He's just looking to push it back a skosh. Josh Madden picks this one up. And is carrying it coast to coast, gets past the guard, and just is going to rub on the second one. Ends up being second rock.
And here goes the tight guard.
Botcher. Laying down the sword of Damocles in this one. And just peels it off.
Have to throw another guard now, and now you have to line it up, which won't cover anything in the rings, really. But you have to put this guard in a spot where they can't just straight peel it.
Yeah, it sets you up for later.
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, it's... The angles in the house aren't great for Kleiter right now. It's got a lot of curling to do.
Certainly not as far as they wanted to go.
No. No time clocks here in Martensville, but if there were, they wouldn't take much thinking time on this, as long as you can just peel the tight guard again. Like I said, that long guard, not much of a guard at all on its own. All it's really good for is guarding a tighter guard, but they have to get underneath it.
So take two for Team Kleiter here. Johnson watches this one come on down. Coming a little bit heavy, but it's a better line.
Not much. You know, he's tighter to the rings, but he's still not buried at all. So you can play the straight pick on the tighter guard. Quite a pronounced set on that. It's still backing away from the line.
Ooh, and they just catch it by a whisker. It's not Gillette, but that was a close shave.
Yeah, and they're probably at the point in the end where they got to make it. They got to make a move in the house now, because you can't afford to give up another big end. Brad Gushu, he seems to have the same game plan here that he had this morning. You get up 4-1 with after the fourth end. And this morning, or I guess it was earlier this afternoon, he was able to score 4 on the fifth, put that one out of reach. You don't want to give up the big end here if you're Rylan Kleiter. And it's not looking good for a steal right now.
Well, if you tell me every game I play I'm going to be up 4-1 after 4, I'm going to sign up for that. There's a good look at the faithful gathered here in Martensville. You see them packed up and down to the rafters. They say they have the monitors on and extra TV so people can see the action if they can't even see it through the glass. Great support for the sport here in Martensville, Saskatchewan. did catch that high guard a little bit, but
Yeah.
doesn't really hurt him, I don't think.
No, kind of plan B'd it, but might have given Rylan it. Well, it's still dead buried, but that guard's so long, you could probably get to it with the in-turn and tap it to the pocket. The question is a tap to the pocket good enough, or do you have to move one of those right now? I guess if you dead freeze...
You probably had to move it, Sean.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you do. Like, if you could dead freeze it here in the pocket, because look at where your shooter's going to end up. So you've got the red run. Again, put a yellow one dead frozen in that pocket. So now you could run the red that was just thrown to jam out the two reds, leave the yellow shot, or you're going to have the shot on the other side. And as long as you got two shots, Brad can't take away both of them, and what's he going to do? You're kind of, you're in some trouble here. You're down already by 3. You have to be willing to ignore a few rocks and take some chances. But if you've got a shot on both sides, there's still a chance to perhaps set up a steal, or at the very least a force. You start playing weight right now. Like, you play this with weight and move a red. Brad could always nose hit the red and the 8-foot on the other side. It comes off the yellow and into whatever stone you're going to tap back here. So that's why they'd want to play this with just a tap if they could.
So Broom is down for the tap.
You want to absolutely dead freeze this in the pocket. You're playing with an awful small margin of error. You don't want any separation when you're done. But, scoreboard dictates you don't get much margin of error anymore.
So looking for the perfect stone. Working to hold the line here.
Looks like a lot of weight to me.
It's just a bit outside. It does not get there.
Pretty heavy.
Still Brad Gushu is lying 1 and 2.
Yeah, and the nose on the red. He won't even mind if he loses one of those reds on the button just because there's such a pocket there. It shouldn't completely kill it either. It might move it.
Yeah, because you have to have some pause because there's 2 yellows in front of your rocks.
Yeah, now the one on the, again, at the 10 o'clock position, that one's not really worrying you because you can't do much with that.
It's one that's high noon there.
Yeah, and you can't do anything with it directly, but if you hit this right, what they're talking about, there's not a lot of room between those 2 yellows. So you hit this first one right on the nose with some speed, it's going to come across and move that second one. Now, the question is, how far is it going to move it? Brad doesn't throw as hard as Mark, for instance. I'm also not entirely sure whether or not the yellow clears. So he's going to drive red onto yellow, and I don't know if it clears the one at the side of the button. I think it does. It probably doesn't hurt you if it rubs it either. So then it'll disturb that pocket.
So firm weight on the way from Gushu.
It's not narrow.
Moves them all, and they lie too after all that.
I don't love that. Talking about just hitting and rolling in front of it, so you're going to concede a draw for 2.
There's no triple there, right, Sean?
Well, there might be, but you're not staying if you get the triple, and then it's, I don't know, is that yellow one protected? I mean, you might be able to get a force out of it that way.
So last on the way from Kleiter. Johnson on the brush.
They're going to have to go.
He's going hard. He gets past it. He's going to get the hit. Roll on
It
top.
stopped.
It's Brad Gushu sitting 1 as a draw for 2.
Yeah. Well, that was the best you were ever going to get out of that shot, which, I mean, if they're content to do that, I guess that's what they've decided. But you've given him 1 already. If he makes the draw for 2, you're down 5 points with 3 ends left to play.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good enough. Like, if he misses the draw, not that it's great, but if you're down 4 with 3 ends left to play, it's score your 2 and then steal 1 at a time. You don't have to reinvent the math to make that work. You need some help, but I mean, the 5 rock free guard zone is part of that help, so it's feasible. It's if you're 5 down, either you got to score a 3 somewhere or you got to steal a deuce. Those both get real tough.
Filestone on end number 5. Gushu, he's got 1 in his pocket. He's looking for a second one. He needs a button. Sweepers are standing straight up. This is skating, and it is going to sail past the target. It'll be a single point for Brad Gushu. He holds a 4-stone lead over Kleiter. Kleiter will have the hammer and 6 when we come back to Martensville after this on Curling Stadium.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Brett, come on, man. I know Aztec's #1 for online safety training, but we really should be out here practicing.
I know, guys. I'll be right there. Just let me finish this course on gas detection. Wait. Do you smell that?
And welcome back to Martensville. It's a 4-stone lead for Brad Gushu over Rylan Kleiter as we play here at end number 6 at the Curling Stadium, Martensville International.
Oh,
and
man.
we just see a big tumble over there on sheet 3. We'll see if we can get a clip of that one to show you. Oh, man, somebody on Team Meacham just took a big old header.
Braden Grindam, I think.
Oh,
And we're going to try to show the replay.
Oh, down goes Frazier.
Yeah, Braden Grindam, I think, and it might have been a case where they've only got one sweeper, and he's sweeping with a gripper, and I think he was trying to switch sides, which honestly, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often when you get into that situation. It's really hard to sweep on the offside with a slider on.
Yeah, thanks to our crack production team for pulling that one off. But 6:10 to play. We got some other games going on. Sean, why don't you catch us up?
Well, because I have no idea what's going on in the other games. The scores aren't updating. That one, that might not have been the Meacham game. That actually was McDonald and McEwen on the on of our feature that
that was McDonald then.
So somebody on McDonald's team, yeah. I know in that one, McEwen is up 5-2 as they were playing in the 5th. But the scores not updating on the other 2 sheets. Dylan Dirksen and Sean Meacham are on the other side. They're on sheet 1. Bradley Moser playing Kevin Tuma on sheet 4. 2 round robin pools of 5 teams.
Okay, scoreboard shots. just a second. Get you updated.
And then I have to figure out who's throwing
There,
which
sheet one.
set of stones. So it looks to be the Dirksen team there throwing the Reds. So if that's right, they're up 4-2 over Sean Meacham as they play there in the 6th already. I mentioned McEwen was up by a score of 5-2. And the 5th inning just completed there by the looks of it. We haven't seen the score go up. That was the fall we saw. Everybody was worried about picking him up. Nobody put the score up. And a 4-3 game over on sheet 4. I think that's Bradley Moser leading there as they play in the 6th.
I could speak for every ice technician in the world where I say, "Are you okay? Get up." I took a fall like that on Monday at my club. See this draw under cover, and it's going to be second stone.
Yeah, not critical. I mean, he could have even been just biting at the back 12 would have worked for now. He needed a rock where they couldn't get at it, and that's what he's got.
So, seeing them discussing just the straight guard, or now moving to the...
Yeah, no, he was always
guard.
talking about the peel. What he was talking about was they're going to hit the higher guard on the other side because there's a better chance of the shooter coming across and running into something that, you know, might help them either expose the second one or maybe even drive it onto it. Oh, gets the double peel.
Oh!
And the one in the rings.
Almost got everything.
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely perfect. It's all the corner guards are gone, and the one yellow rock still in the rings is now exposed. So for Kleiter, your choices are you guard your one that's in the rings, or you loop right around everything. You could be thinking about both of those possibilities too. He might be thinking, well, we guard this one for now, and at some point in the end, he's still going to loop around them because the chase will always be there. The nice thing about this come around, that red stone that's now off the ring stayed in play. So if you make a good corner guard here, it's a little trickier to just try to peel the guard because there's jams either in the house or that stone that's just off the rings. This is one where you might bring the corner guard a little tighter than you would otherwise just to make a half rock hit probably jams one of those red stones, regardless of which side you're playing it on.
Guard has to sit. It did, but chase is there either way.
Chase is there, and the guard's probably high enough that you could straight peel it too if you wanted to. I thought they'd try to get that guard a little bit tighter, where the jam on that stone just outside of the rings would be a little bit more possible.
They are going to try to dig it out.
Just can't miss this on the wide side. You got to hit something yellow here. If it's the guard, so be it.
So, Mark Nichols. Hard to hold the line here. And they just get past that guard and all the way back and make that takeout. Great team shot there. So
Yeah.
Kleiter coming underneath the guard again. Has to make something happen here, down by 4 in the 6th end. Does have the hammer, but can certainly not afford to give up another point. Trevor Johnson trying to drag this. This is not heavy at all. It's not even going to be third shot, fourth shot even.
Well, that's not critical. It's a tough one to remove, and there is a nose hit triple on the Reds right now. So you got that in the spot where it's tough for Brad to get rid of it. So he's going to have to play more of an offensive style shot.
So
whether
just
it's a guard
tap it up and change the angles?
Yeah, probably not, because that could just as easily leave a quad. I'm thinking you're either throwing the guard or you're throwing another one in the rings. It looks like they're going in the rings. You don't really want to throw the guard because then they just come around it all. Mind you, that still probably eliminates the one that was just thrown.
Obviously, Kleiter has to take some chances here.
Yeah, like I don't think he's playing that triple on the next one. I don't think he can afford to. It's the kind of shot you have to hope it's still there for your last one to get a pile. You play it too early, you just give Gushu too many chances to get rid of all the yellows.
So it's going to settle in the rings right at the tee line. It's 4 red stones counting for Gushu.
No, he is going to try it. Scary thing.
I think the quad's there right now.
I don't think you're ever getting the one that was just thrown. Because to get the one that at the top of the button, to come towards the one at the back of the 8-foot, you got to clip it fairly thin, and then it's going underneath. He's going to loop around everything, and I don't mind this call. This was one I talked about earlier, that you might have to play this at some point in time. And again, the fact that the triple is there, you loop this around, you've always got a way to get rid of that red at the top of the button. The trick here is to try to find a place where you can put a Yellowstone that Brad can't get at it.
So trying to make this yellow ungettable.
Yeah, or at least force Gushu to try to run something red back, and if you can get a bit of a mistake, maybe he takes care of one of these rocks for you.
It lies second stone. Now, you can certainly get it a couple ways.
Yeah, but there's the potential for a mistake here. You know, you hit this thin, drive it by, you've eliminated one of your own stones for him.
Oh, yeah, you had to make this. There's not a lot of room to clear the guard to make this.
If you ever dead jam it, there's room to come around again and freeze. So, you know, still a couple of ways you might be able to get your dues if you're Rylan Kleiter.
So here's Gushu. Nichols on this right out of his hand all day. Now they're all fit. A little bit of carve, push it up and back and out. And they sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a lot.
It is. But there's still something to work with if you're Rylan Kleiter. If you get a good corner freeze on that stone at the tee line, and I'm talking, you got to be about half on it, maybe even a sliver more than half. There's no way to get it out if you get to that angle, because when you blast it, it's going into that red at the other side of the 8-foot. But this is where the angle becomes so important. Like if you're only a quarter on it, it'll be fully exposed. You hit it with weight, and it goes underneath that red on the other side. You overcurl it, you might not be shot rock. You don't want to be right on the face because that red is a little bit more than half in front of the tee line so you wouldn't be shot. Half to 3/4 dead frozen, and I don't think you get this one out. I'm not sure they need to be carving it, though. Yeah, they just needed the weight on that. They didn't really need the extra curl. You can ignore that stone if you really want to. You're already sitting 3. He doesn't really have anything off that. I mean, even if he tried to hit to run it up and could run the triple, you're still going to have 4th on the other side. So Brad's going to ignore it, throw the draw himself, and put a little bit more pressure on in this last shot.
Gushu still in the driver's seat here, and number 6 up by 4. Sitting 3, going to make it 4. His last of the 6th. Boys are on this one hard. They got the weight. Do they have the line?
I don't think they have the weight either.
Yeah, well, yeah, Scotia lighting the weight. Is there a shot for 2, Shawnee?
I don't think so. There's an out-turn draw for 1, but I don't know if 1 is enough.
Kid, if you ever hit that dead nose really hard, does it come across?
It might, but your shooter's no better than 3rd shot, maybe 4th.
Well, with that level of manicuring, that's probably a draw.
Yeah.
So, final stone of end number 6, facing 3. Kleiter. Yeah, I'll turn draw. He's going to take it in himself. Can they get it there? Can they get there? Can they get past the guard? Oh, yes, and they do stick it for the single point. And they will trail by 3. Gushu will have the hammer in 7 when we come back from Martensville after this.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
And welcome back to the Martensville Curling Club. It's the Curling Stadium Martensville Invitational. 10 teams here competing for some valuable points and some money along the way. And there's Brad Gushue with a 3-stone lead over Rylan Kleiter. He has the hammer here in number 7. Thank you so much for joining us here on Curling Stadium. And Sean, what's your plan if you're Kleiter?
Well, you're 3 down, 2 ends to play. That means you have to steal a deuce at some point in time. You're going to throw the double centers. And you don't have to press too hard for the deuce here. Like, you don't want to end the game on this one. But, you have to keep it in the back of your mind. I think that was an attempt at the second guard. It comes into the rings, so that's a chance for Gushu to play at it. You will see occasionally you get the first guard up. If the come around comes right to the top of the button, you could throw a freeze on your first one, and knowing that if you throw the guard on your 3rd stone at the end, which is the 5th stone overall at the end, you're still in the same boat, but at least you're not facing 2. I don't think you would have played the freeze on a stone. That first stone was not in a great position. I think that was supposed to be a guard, and it slid too deep.
So looking to pick this one out. And they picked that just like you picked your nose.
Yeah, you're never thinking about stealing 2 now. This is, you have to try to steal 1 this end, and you're going to be up against it to try to steal 2 coming home. But, I mean, you don't have your 2 guard set up now. So really tough to steal more than 1 with only 1 guard. The long guard, again, by itself is only really good to protect a tighter guard. Got those lined up, but you maybe didn't get as much separation as you would have liked. I think they're going to take a run at the double peel here.
Pretty sure they can just rip them out of here. Here comes Botcher. He kicks and fires. Big positive release here
Even
from
if you
Botcher.
even if you just peel 1 here, now how do you throw a second guard? Because that one's halfway. Like, how do you separate them to try to throw a second one now? You might have to come around, and then it's peel the guard and guard for your life.
And he just got the top one there. There was a contrail off the back of that one.
I'm going to try to tap this one behind the button, knowing that the guard's going to get peeled, and then you might have something you could freeze to later on. I'm not sure I love this. I think I'd be tempted to play the come around anyway. You play the come around, they're still peeling the guard, and I get what they're worried about. It's a short red run, but I don't think you can let that bother you.
And they make the tap back. But obviously the peel is still very available.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think they could hurt themselves trying to get the double either. There's no way you're jamming both of them. If you jam 1, doesn't really hurt you.
Botcher with his second. Gets 1, gets 2 in. There they go. So no mistake there for Brendan Botcher, and Team Kleiter in the world of hurt here.
Stones left to come. They look at the freeze first. That might be the way to go. You get the freeze. You're trying to convince Brad Gushu to just blast it out. I don't think he will. I think he'll peel the guard anyway. But if he was to ever blast out the ones in the back, then you can come around the guard to the top of the 4 foot. They're trying to come around first. It's going to be short. This isn't bad though. That's still a guard.
That'll just be another rip from Team Gushu here.
Yeah, but he's not going to try the double now because you'd hate to jam it on that stone at the back of the 4. So they'll just try to pick the tight guard. And if you take the high one, so be it. As long as he's only taken one, if you're Kleiter, you've still got something to work with.
And they do pick it out.
I still like the freeze on this one. That's what he's playing. You play the freeze, you're hoping you could convince him to blast the one out of the back. If you blast the one out of the back, you still got the guard. Now you can come around to the top of the button and you're shot rock. And if you get a mistake trying to blast the freeze, you might have a chance to sit 2 later on.
So Johnson kind of likes this one. Just a couple brush strokes. He likes it with good reason. That's a good shot.
Yeah, he's going to blast it.
So here comes Nichols. And bam, bam, there they go.
So now you come around, dead buried to the top of the button. He peels the guard. You throw a little bit tighter guard so you can't chase, and, that's your chance to steal.
Kleiter lining up the shot. Not taking a tremendous amount of ice.
No, I see that.
Might be a situation where the middle of the sheet's a little bit flatter.
Could be to do with Rylan's release, too. He does have a fairly pronounced set on his out-turn draw.
And that's a big thing about curling, knowing where to put the broom for every different player. This one has to get there. The line's great. You need all the weight, though, guys.
That's okay if he just peels the top one. I don't know that he'll peel it.
Come around again, then,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, he'll play the draw. That I don't think he ever would have played the straight peel anyway. He would have tried to run it back. But you're going to be forced here. If you're Brad, you may as well play the draw on the first one.
And that draw is Brad's happy place. If there's ever a guy who likes to throw a draw, this is him. Is first of 2 here in the 7th inning. Nichols on the inside, Walker on the outside.
You don't want to put this behind the tee line, and if you are going to put it behind the tee line, you want to be well back there.
It's going to stop just short of the tee line.
It means Rylan's going to have to try to move it and stay right there. He's got to move it, well, 2 rock widths to be shot rock. And hard to move it that far and stay on the nose, too. You flop out a bit to the outside, there's room to get it out.
Yeah, he's got to just paper his own.
Yeah.
So the last from Kleiter. Johnson picks it up. He's trying to hold it out there.
Yeah, that's really tight.
Can they get it past the guard? Yes, he does. Past the next one. No, it's going to rub on off and right on by. That's going to be a draw of 4 for 2 for Brad Gushu.
Does he get 2 if he's to his own? That's what they're trying to look at. It's hard to tell.
I'm pretty sure you do. I'm sure we can get a tight house shot and know that for sure in a second. And just like that. Yeah, I think you come down to yours, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure they think so because they've taken enough ice. I think they're trying to come to the yellow one. You certainly have to make a choice. It can't be an either or, because if you try playing an either or and you just touch the red and spill over, you might only get one. But it did look like they took more ice, so I think they're coming to the yellow. They looked at both.
So Sydney won. Brad Gushu trying to hammer the last nail. Final stone of the 7th end. Trying to carve this over a little bit is Walker. He's going to make contact with the yellow, push it back just enough, and I do believe that's a score 2 for Brad Gushu, and that will be good enough for the win. So hang that final score as 7-2 in favor of Brad Gushu, and he is now 2-0 here in Martensville.
Yep, good start for the Gushu team. That certainly helps them towards the playoffs. Rylan Kleiter is going to need to win his final 2 and might need some help.
Absolutely. We have plenty of coverage from Martensville all this weekend. Please join us tomorrow here on Curling Stadium at 9 p.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Eastern. And we're going to have some more games. We're featuring Brad Gushu again tomorrow for at least 2 draws. So from the Martensville Curling Club, for my colleague Sean Joyce, and back at our studios in London, Ontario, Kaylee and Jerry, thank you so much for joining us here on Curling Stadium. Good day.
Hey Mark, you ready for this game tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Cupsy, what are you doing over there?
Don't worry, boys. Was just on AztecSafety.com, took a fire extinguisher safety course. Paul, I'm putting out the fires from now on. Woo!